Okay. To talk about surface area, we need to discuss what a net is. A net is a flat representation of the faces of a solid. So these various models that, especially the ones that I have over on the shelves, that were made out of paper, students created those, and I'm gonna have you try and create a net today.
Is it when I
To-
cut out like through flat?
Yeah, so it's flat, and then you cut out the shape and fold it up. Yeah, those back behind the smart
So the
board.
surface area
were that
you
way.
just. I like to spa, well, a hot one is the one.
Trust me, it's a good thing you're back
Sounds
there.
fun.
Amazing. Yeah, we did.
Don't be cocky.
What
Yeah.
number is-
Look at that drawing.
All right, you formed a net, so now we can talk about surface area. Because surface area is the area of every face of the three-dimensional shape. You just created in flat version every face of a solid. All right, so notes, surface area, 72, I think, for the lateral area. So we'll have two things, surface area and then lateral area. Usually we'll do them in the other order. So we just did our own net, so I'm gonna skip those. Okay, find the surface area of this net. I'm gonna give you some numbers. Okay, on this one, let's make it a right triangle. We'll do our standard 3, 4, 5 for the right triangle. And let's say that it is a width of 3. So what are the measurements on this other triangle?
3, 4, 5.
3, 4, 5. Think about it folding. How big is this one?
It's gonna be
I know it's 3 by, how long does this need to be to wrap around the triangle? What do you mean a half? Half of 4? What's it gonna match with when it folds?
It's gonna match 3. Oh.
Want it match with this one?
3 by 4.
3 by 3.
Oh, yeah.
And then when this one folds, what's it gonna go on? The 5 by 3. So our lateral area, which part of this is the lateral area? Which ones are the bases? When you fold it up, it's going to be, I know I don't have a right triangle, but it's gonna be this object. So which faces are the bases? What's this object called?
That'd be a triangular prism.
Okay, so the triangles are the bases. Okay? So the triangles are the bases. If we're doing only lateral area, that means we want the rectangles. So this part right here is what's called the lateral area. So what's the area of all those rectangles? Lateral area. What's the area of this rectangle? 12. What's the area of this one? 9. Area of this one?
15.
What do those add up to be? 36? Square, I'll just say inches. And then your surface area would add on the bases. What's the area of one base? We said it was a triangle. How do you do area of a triangle?
That's 32. It's 66.
Okay, 1/2 base times height. The base and the height of the triangle would be the 3 and the 4 because of the right angle. So 1/2 of 3 times 4 is
Whoa.
6.
Wait, 4 is the height?
4 is either the base or the height, depending which way I think of it.
Doesn't even
You want me to
matter
reverse
what
the
you
numbers?
say,
What did you say? What did the
It really comes out the same thing. How many triangles are there?
Two.
2. So we need 36, 6, and another 6 to get the total surface area, which is 48. Somebody said that a little while ago, I think. So the total surface area is 48. So if you have the flat net, it's really easy to do. If you don't, it's a little bit harder to do. Now, there's a formula that can help us out, because what it does is puts these lateral areas all together. How long does this total rectangle have to be? When it wraps around, doesn't it have to wrap around the triangle?
Yeah.
What's the distance around any shape cone?
Perimeter.
Perimeter. So in our formula, they're gonna say for this lateral area, if you just take the perimeter of the base multiplied by this height of 3, that would get your total lateral area. And then we're adding on 2 bases to finish the surface area. So the formula that I'm talking about is this one. I've got it in words and then I have just the formula. So it's up to you if you want both or if you explain your variables in a different way.
We have a whole lot of those.
Well, we've got a cylinder yet to talk about.
Hmm.
Surface area of a prism, we need to take 2 times whatever the area of the base faces. So these are all going to be prisms. So your base faces are going to be parallel and congruent. Maybe it's triangles, maybe it's hexagons, maybe it's rectangles. Then to get the lateral area, I'll just say this right here is the lateral area. You take the perimeter of the base times the height. That would be like wrapping all the rectangles around the base. That's why you take perimeter times the height. So just make sure you understand my notes. The base face is one of the 2 congruent parallel faces. The height of the prism is the distance between the base faces. So if it's a triangular prism, how far is it from one triangle to the other? That's your height to use in the formula. So we're going to practice that formula on a few different pictures. Colton, you a little distracted there?
A little bit.
A little bit. Got your notes all down?
No.
And the notes, you can either just make notes about that or read through. Everyone have a calculator? Do some computations. The prisms are a little bit harder than the cylinder will be because the cylinder always has a circle base, but the prisms can have different faces as bases. So this height doesn't always go up. It depends which way the prism is sitting. Because the triangular prism, I could have it sitting on the triangle. In this case, the height goes up. I could have it sitting like a tent. And in this case, the height of the prism doesn't go up. It goes sideways because it's from one triangle to the other. So it's the distance between the 2 base faces. Are we good now? Okay. All right. This one's just name. Name the bases. Which faces are the bases? Not rectangles. Actual triangles, because that's the only shape that has parallel and congruent faces. So the triangles are the bases. Which ones are the lateral faces? The ones that are not the bases. So those would be the 3 rectangles that are on it. What would be the base area?
You're welcome.
Which shape would you be finding the area of to do the base area? What shape did you tell me the base was? Triangle. How do you do a triangle's area?
Base times height.
Half base times height. So you said 56.
Divided by
4 times
Yeah,
8.
the 8 would be your base. How do I know that's 8? Because the matching edge is right there with the measurement. So half of 8 times 7,
4 times
or
7.
4 times 7, which is 28. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. 28 is our base area. What's the perimeter of the base? How far around the triangle? 8, 8, 8. I know it doesn't look very equilateral, it's the angle that I drew it at. So 8 plus 8 plus 8. 24. What's the height of the prism? How far from one triangle to the other triangle? 11. That's the height. So once we have all this listed, it's easy to do the surface area. So that's what I'd like you to do on your assignment, is write that down. So finding the surface area, we have to take 2 times the base area and then perimeter times height. So 2 times 28 and then 24 times 11 to get all the rectangles going around. 2 times 28 is
56.
56. 24 times 11,
264.
and when you add
320.
120 square, whatever, so I'll just put a U for units. So that would be the surface area. Questions on that sample? Okay, so here is an example. I want you to figure what the surface area would be. Why don't you grab your marker board then and put your answer on it so I can compare who's calculating and who's not.
Dang it, today's going by too slow.
And
I just said
told you
six.
Okay, the answer on that one is about 996. 996? All right, next one. There's the rectangular prism like you did earlier, but we're not gonna fold it flat. We're gonna see if we can do it. Okay, let's use the base as this rectangle. So when you're doing area of the base and perimeter of the base, there's your rectangle. Okay, eyes up here. So figure before you start in, find the area of the base and the perimeter of the base.
How do you find the base area again?
What shape is it?
A square, a rectangle.
How do you find the area of the rectangle? We did that
Base
last chapter.
times height.
Okay, base times height.
So 27.
So take the base and the height and
I think
multiply.
it's 15.
So is it 27 by 15?
What?
27 times 15?
27, no, 15's not on the base.
27 times 8.
27 times 8 is your base area. There's your base area. Perimeter of the base.
Okay.
So how far around the base?
Perimeter
What was 27 times 8?
216.
Okay, now some are saying, how do you get perimeter? Perimeter means distance all the way around the base. So 27 plus 8 plus 27 plus 8, which is
70.
P equals 70. And then height.
now what's the height? How far from
15.
one rectangle base to the other?
15.
That's the 15. Okay, now plug into your surface area formula. Let's see
Okay.
what our final numbers are. Ready for the final number?
1,400.
Correct. Square centimeters.
That's what I got.
Okay, question on that one?
Shush.
Alright.
Getting
let's
tired of
do
that.
this one. Now before you start in, did that work when we listed everything separate?
Yeah.
I think that works pretty good. If we figure out what the base area is, what the perimeter is, and what the height is. Okay, what shape, shape is the base face?
That'd be a rectangle.
Is it the rectangle or the
No,
triangle?
it's the triangle because that's the base face.
Yeah, the triangle, I know this isn't the right triangle, but the triangles are the base faces.
Yep.
The others are the rectangles that connect them. So when you're thinking base area, think of that triangle. Okay, so how do you do the area of a triangle?
Right.
Okay. 1/2 of 5 times 12. Triangles are base times height. So the area of that triangle is 30. Okay. How do we do perimeter of the triangle? I'm going to put a triangle over here. Perimeter of the triangle.
Add them up.
Okay, so you add 5 and 12 and
13. It's 13.
how are you getting that?
Pythagorean triple.
Okay, triple or doing the Pythagorean theorem, you had to figure out what that side was in this problem. Okay, okay, so add that 13 in. And by coincidence, the perimeter is 30. What's the height of the prism? How far from that
30.
triangle to the other triangle? 10. It's not the 5. Surface area. 2 base areas
360.
plus the perimeter times the height. 360?
360.
That would be square feet. Question on that one?
Tired. Tell me your.
This isn't going to be 600. Okay, the other shape for today was the cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead to the cylinder and do a couple examples of its surface area. But now is where it's getting off to a slow start. Is where you ought to get there.
Yeah, it's gonna bite us in the
Now it's
butt
gonna
hawks.
A cylinder. A cylinder. It's a solid with 2 congruent circular bases that lie in parallel planes. So when we do surface area, do you remember me showing you the net earlier? How many circles would there be on a cylinder? 2. One for the bottom prism, which will still be called H.
That's the one.
This formula, are we ready to switch the screen?
No.
This is going to be the formula on the next screen for the surface area of a cylinder.
That is or it isn't?
Is.
Okay.
You ready? Okay, so surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi times the radius squared plus 2 pi times radius times height. It's on the board, it's on the smart board. The base is always a circle, so that's why we could actually put that formula in. And the perimeter is always the circumference, so again, we put that formula in. So if you directly use this formula, knowing the radius and the height, you're good.
This is gonna be a pain.
Because you don't have pi.
This is our last note.
I think so. Probably a couple examples and then I'll see if I have any time to work. The height of the cylinder is the distance between the 2 circles. So even if it's laying down like a tube of something, the height is not on the circle. The height is the distance between the 2 circles. So it doesn't always go vertical.
Miss Frank, on the last day or the second to last day in here, are we gonna watch a movie or
I
something?
doubt it. We'll probably look at some optical illusion pictures.
What? Sweet.
Something that's a little bit more productive in our visual. Kinda crossing the line.
What do you mean?
That was inappropriate.
What? Asking if we were watching a movie.
the slamming down of the.
I didn't slam anything.
Okay, don't, I have proof. We can hear it.
Oh, that's right. She's
Find the
still recording.
surface area. Okay, so two things you need, I can go back to that, Jamie. Two things you need, the radius and the height. So up here, radius is 5, height is 12. It says to the nearest whole number, find the surface area. Don't shout it out, let others have a chance to think. Find the surface area.
Oh, yeah. I need to calculate this.
Probably because of the pi, I would guess. It says nearest whole number in the end. On the final calculation.
Not 34.
No.
Shush.
So you know how to do each half and then add to it. So you have to do each part separately on the little cheapo calculators. You have to do the 2 pi 5 squared, get that answer. And then do the other part and
Don't
then
hurt
add
the
together.
chibi's feelings.
They only like $1.
Shush. Now I'm curious what you have to say. Because I gotta be separate. Hey.
Next part.
I'm a failure anyway.
Okay, surface area there was 530. Round to be 534. Did everybody get that?
Yeah.
Bam. All of them that I saw going around were the same. And how about the cylinder going this way? This measurement is 22 inches, and this way it is 20 inches. Find the surface area. And you need the radius, and you need the height. That's the diameter.
So.
Cylinders are pretty easy to calculate. You know your two numbers, your radius and your height. What'd you use for a radius? 11. And the height? Your radius.
That was way off.
Times your height, which is your height. No. The distance between circles.
12.
So far from one circle to the other.
This part. That's because I put 12 for the height, not 20. I put that. Thousand something.
Okay, if you followed my numbers, 1, 2, 4, 3, or excuse me, 2, 1, 4, 3 square inches.
I didn't get that.
You didn't?
I got that.
Okay, so we're a little bit off probably because I used the pipe button and you used 3.14.
Uh,
So that's the
Okay.
difference. Did you See, the 20 is how far from one circle to the other. That's what the height is.
Yeah. I think I accidentally did.
Probably because it's going up, I'd say you probably did that.
Trying to block the
Okay, let's
light
write down
from
what the
using
problems
this.
are, and
But I did.
like I said, you kind of hurt yourself here as far as getting this done in class.
Dude,
Page
you're like
4,
this.
page 7,
You're just like this at
8 through 26. Not a real long assignment. Some of the questions just ask, like, what's the base area, what's the height? There are some that you have to calculate completely. Cylinders are easier than
Can we throw away our
prisms.
nets?